Welcome to the podcast Selling Real Estate with Kelly Cook, where we will discuss the latest and most relevant business strategies to help you do one thing extremely well: sell more homes. We'll discuss everything from business planning to lead generation and conversion to past client customer service and everything in between. Join us for authentic conversations and nuts and bolts takeaways you can implement into your business today. And now, Selling Real Estate with Kelly Cook.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back. It is another episode of Selling Real Estate with Kelly Cook. We do have Kelly Cook here with us today. Kelly, is it a great day or what?
It's a great day. And I'm glad you said that, because usually you've been throwing me off these questions about books I'm reading and all sorts of stuff,
catch
right?
off guard.
But it's great.
I'm glad for you today.
Yeah, thank you, Elizabeth, because it's been a long day already. Whew. So
well, it's going to get better. Question. It's going to be a great day today because we do have a guest with us. We have Mr. David Johnson. He recently came over to Cook & Associates, AZ, and has taken over as the Director of Sales and Development over there. So we're really excited to talk to him today. Like I said, he just came over, just joined. So this is actually my first time meeting him. Already can tell you he's a super awesome, interesting guy. So we're going to learn a lot here today. And really what we're going to talk about is what he's doing in his role, right? There's really a couple of different aspects. Number one, Director of Sales and Development for the buy-sell side, right? Getting clients, getting listings, keeping the business rolling. This is what real estate is really all about. But there is another side to it right now. As Kelly made the switch over to Real, there was really the agent networking portion of it, right? Keeping that system up, running and strong. So we're really going to kind of dive into both of those aspects today, and I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I am too. So this is fun. So obviously I got to know Dave really well here. We started talking back in October and finally came together on this position to really grow something special, and for me personally, to provide value, not just to our agents, right, who are our clients as well, but also to people who may not want to join our team, right, but maybe want to join Real. And when you join Real, you actually have the ability to choose how you enter the organization, and in doing so, you might choose who your best friend is, that kind of thing, but you might as well choose somebody that is going to provide value back to you in some form or fashion. And there's no better value if you're on this platform than providing that value back to an agent with the form of helping them grow their network. Why? Because one day, if they grow up large enough, they won't have to worry about a transaction. They won't have to worry about January 1st coming around and the clock resets to zero, right? It will just the income will continue to roll in. And that's what is so beautiful about this platform of Real, right? It just continues to allow you to have this passive income if you take the time up front, 2, 3, 4 years to build it from the ground up. So Dave is an expert on that. So I don't want to steal his thunder, but he is really an expert on that. And so there's big value that comes to anybody who wants to join, in our organization, because you have somebody who can tell you, who's been there, done that, who can tell you the best practices, the right steps in the right priority of how to go about building that network. In addition to that, he ran a small team as well on the real estate side. So he knows obviously how to work with a buyer, a seller, an investor. And a lot of that was on the higher end. So from the luxury standpoint, good perspective there too as well. So I'm going to stop right now and let's say, Dave, thanks for joining our podcast, like Elizabeth said. And if you don't mind, just tell the viewers a little bit about your background and how you got to be where you are here today.
Well, Kelly, thanks for having me. It's an absolute pleasure to not only get to know you and be a part of the working crew here at Cook & Associates here in Scottsdale, but just to see where we're going together. I think it's going to be exciting. Well, how long do we got in this podcast? We got like 3 hours because my intro is super long. No, in all honesty, getting back to the expert tag, I don't know if I would go that far an expert, but certainly have seen and done a lot on the network side. So I've got a little bit of an interesting path. And I was just sharing with Elizabeth before we jumped on here officially, is I started my career way back when, because I'm probably older than you think that I am, most people watching this, as a Secret Service agent. I was a pre-law major in college and wanted to be a lawyer and an FBI agent. It was kind of the goal, and eventually be a judge. So not only did I miss that mark totally, now I'm in real estate and building networks all over the country, all over the world for that matter, over the last 25 years. But that's what my trajectory started with. So I spent about almost 10 years in that industry, been all over the world, protected a lot of presidents and former presidents and other people's countries' presidents. And it was certainly an interesting dynamic time in my life, for sure. So the interesting part of that story, though, is getting out of that really was building networks. I was actually talking to my wife this past week about that transition. Is building a network allowed me the freedom and the opportunity to be here today, be part of your team, having opportunities to live in Scottsdale, having just come from Colorado, where we owned a horse ranch for a number of years where our kids grew up. So checking off a lot of bucket list items along the way and really living out some really cool opportunities. But it was interesting that first initial transition from Secret Service days, from federal work days, to really crafting a life of freedom was building networks. So we spent about 20 years, almost a little over 20 years now, building out networks for some of the largest companies in the direct-to-consumer space, personal product, type of development space, never in real estate. So I'm hoping to bring my, as you say, expertise over to the real estate side, because it's really not difficult to build networks. There's some things that you need to do. I always like to say, if you got a heartbeat and you're generally a nice person and people like you, that's your first step to building a massive network. And then if you have a great product, whether it be on a product side of the house, whether you're whatever it may be, a vitamin, a drink, a lotion or a shampoo or whatever, a myriad of different products that they sell. Or in this case, we're talking about real estate, buying and selling with individuals or investors. The product is great. It's solid. It's tried, it's true, it's tested. So those are the first couple of steps to building the network, no matter where you're at.
Got it. Okay. So I hope everyone's taking a note of that, because there could be some people actually that are doing real estate right now who are actually trying to do network marketing with some product company on the side, right? That could actually be happening. So, so why don't you just stop that and join the two together, do one job and get paid twice, right? How about that?
Yeah, there's nothing more true to that. I was actually kidding with a friend of mine recently, is like, most networks on the product-based consumer side, are generally household goods, right? So, I mean, when's the last time you spent $150,000 for some shampoo or some vitamins? Hopefully never. I mean, let's just be really honest. But when you start thinking of transacting real estate, now here in Scottsdale, our average home price is much higher than maybe somewhere in the middle of the country, or in certain ends of the country. So when you start transacting real estate in the $800,000 range, then those commissions that are coming through building that network and the volume side of it gets quite voluminous fast.
Yeah, which is awesome. So let's go back real quick to the production side real quick, Dave. So
yeah.
Someone out there right now is probably wondering, okay, I'm listening to this. How do I sell another house, or how do I help another buyer, buy a house, right? What would you say right now could be something that could give someone encouragement along the way to kind of try to figure out, what their step one, step two could be to take that next leap of faith to go from, maybe closing 4 homes a year to 6 to 8 to 12, whatever. We've been talking a lot about mindset recently on this podcast, and self-awareness, self-reflection, and figuring out who you are, being who you are. And that is a clear overlap onto how you set your goals. And if you're going to be likely to probably accomplish your goals you set for yourself, right? Exactly. And so, that being said, mindset's a big thing. We know that. But what are some things that somebody could maybe do here to help them increase their sales count to help achieve their goal of selling X amount of real estate in 2023?
I hope this does not offend anybody, but I don't think real estate in itself is technically difficult just on the basis of it. Now, does that mean you can't find yourself some really technical deals, multifamily, some commercial stuff, or maybe a daisy chain deal where someone's got to sell a home to buy a home, sell a home to buy a home? We've all experienced those. I mean, so it can get technical, but on its face value, I always say that real estate starts with you. If you're the best version of yourself every day, now whatever that looks like, I mean, it's hard to, imagine that I could give something of value add to all your listeners, but at the end of the day, with that, through that self-reflection or that self-awareness, kind of where you're lacking or maybe where you're proficient. And I always say that most people, and this is probably a good thing, spend a lot of times trying to kind of balance the two out. So at the end of the day, the areas where you're lacking to be a good agent, work on those immediately. Don't push them off. So if you don't like to talk on the phone or you don't have good communication skills, maybe that's something that you just are aware that you're lacking. Stop texting. Like I told, the first thing I told your team when I got here, there's, 25 of them back there, and they, their average age is probably a lot less than me. And texting is a platform that we all use. I use it too. The reality is I've been communicating for 25 years in person, verbally, from a stage, all kinds of different, versions of communication. So the hours that I have communicating are far greater than theirs.
Yeah,
for sure. So if there's one thing that you could do is like, just commit to yourself for this next week. I'm going to stop texting, make more phone calls, be more personal, have more conversation. You may not be necessarily good at it at first, but over the days and weeks and months, you become a better communicator. And we all know communication's key. So I always say belief plus competency, right? That's that competency piece equals success in whatever you're doing.
Okay. So belief, that's mindset. How does someone get more competent?
In those skills and areas where they know they're deficient. And also conversely, in those areas where they're proficient, now how do they become expert? Like you mentioned, hey, this is an expert in this area. And we've all read great books, and Gladwell's book on outliers, and 10,000 hours at doing anything.
10,000 hours.
Produces expert, even in courtroom testimonies. I've had countless hours of testifying in different courts all over the place for different opportunities and different tasks, right? 10,000 hours at any task produces a high level of competency in anything you do, whether it's riding a bike, skateboarding, selling real estate, swimming, running. It makes no difference what the task is. Just the time on it produces an expert level type of success.
Okay, so you have a lot of life experience in different sectors of careers. Why real estate, and why this role of success through others, right? Trying to see other agents succeed.
It's a great question. Something I've literally been pondering just in the last few weeks alone. And I think, not to get too philosophical on it, but you get to a certain time and place, maybe in your lifespan. And I'm kind of entering that season, if you will. Done a lot of stuff for myself. I've done a lot of stuff for other people. I've done a lot of stuff that's others would consider like, wow, that's really great. And not many people have done that, even by our own admission in our conversations right now. And I think I'm at that stage in my life where, how do I give back to an industry that I enjoy? And I think ultimately, just being an extrovert, I can't stay home because my wife won't let me, because she gets tired of talking to me all day. So that's probably the other reason, in all honesty.
Same here.
So I've got to leave. You got to go somewhere like Home Depot or Lowe's, or, go shopping or something. You got to
Bed Bath and Beyond, if we have time.
Bed Bath and Beyond. Like, if you see me wandering through Safeway and with nothing in my cart, you just know to leave. Like, hey, this guy's on a mission. He's talking to somebody. No, but I think honestly, it's I've always loved real estate. It's a relatively new adventure for me over the last 3 to 4 years. In terms of it just being a profession. I mean, we've always done it as a hobby and in our own personal family and our finances and stuff. But so over the last few years, it's certainly taken a different approach. But what I found through that approach is there's so many people to help, and we're all on this learning continuum together. I don't know everything, and I think I've shared that with you guys, but we'll find out together. And the things that I do know or maybe considered an expert in, I'm glad to share that, to include like the network side, the transactional side, the communication side, however I can add value, I'm looking to do so.
That's awesome. And I know your heart is just that, right? It's not just words on a podcast. It's your heart. And so that's what is so exciting to hopefully the transition a lot of these agents that they're on our team or not can have in their lives, just personally and then financially, right, too, as well in the future.
Sure.
Why this? Got a couple more questions here for you, but why this platform of Real, and why now?
So interesting enough, when I moved over to real estate, we had just sold our ranch in Colorado, and it was a working horse ranch. It was awesome. Like I said, our younger kids had grown up there. It was a boatload of work. I mean, it was absolutely invigorating and exhausting all in the same time. So when we moved here, we just wanted to take a break. So moving into real estate was 6 or 8 months after we landed, got settled. My wife's from the area, so we wanted to kind of move back to her home, if you will. And so as I started to move into transactional real estate, looking around, I had no idea about the opportunities that existed in there with real network, passive income type of structures. I was completely clueless. So a guy that had built networks for some large companies for 25 years, literally walked in the door having no idea this stuff was happening behind the scenes. So you can imagine my dismay when about a year and a half into this journey, somebody approached me and said, "Hey, by the way, you know, this is an opportunity." And I was like, "No, like, have I been living under a rock? Like, what's wrong with me?" Like,
I didn't know either for so many years, right? Like a lot of agents don't.
And my head kind of popped up. I went home, told my wife, she's like, "Come on, seriously? There's this passive income opportunity." So I always tell people, if you understand passive wealth at any version of it, any layer or level of it, you always understand how much value it adds. Passive income should be our key always. But like most industries, don't have the ability. Like, you're not going to work for your financial institution down the road, one of the big banks, and get passive income. Your 401k is not considered passive.
Right.
So, you're working for a large corporation in downtown Phoenix isn't a passive income. In order for you to earn more, you have to work more. Right. And then as you get older, like me, you realize there's only so many minutes and hours and days in the month that you just can't physically do it, or you don't want to physically do it anymore. Kind of like in real estate. Let's be honest. I meet a lot of real estate agents that secretly they'll tell me, "How do I get out of production, but make the same money that I'm making today?" And I'm like, "Well, you can't unless you understand the passive income strategy."
There's a lot of podcasts out there that will try to teach people how to do just that, right, and get out of production. Which that's good and bad and all at the same time. But there's no podcast. So maybe we should switch our podcast to that, right? About how you stay in production and then just get out because you have this passive income structure, right?
Well, because real estate's hard work. It's a lot of personal commitment, a lot of time, a lot of energy, odd hours, and a lot of work up front for no money. So as you're building, you're pushing a ton of hours at zero rate of pay. And that's not only physically exhausting, it's also mentally and emotionally exhausting because you don't get that immediate feedback. Like, you don't get that paycheck on Friday. Sometimes it's 18 Fridays from now.
Yeah.
Or 36 Fridays from now. So you've got to be able to balance that. And it's hard. It really is. So when you understand the passive side of income and you've tasted that at any level, and we've been blessed, as you know, just to be part of some incredible runs with companies that had incredible products and opportunities that through timing or just unbelievable fortune on our part in terms of just being blessed by the opportunity, we were able to get in. My wife and I, like to say, are just friendly people who want to always move forward and better ourselves and learn and grow. And we found these networks that were literally just kind of made for us.
Yeah.
And we built passive income strategy over the last 20 years that now I can look back and say, well, let me tell you, if you don't know about passive income, let me tell you somebody who's lived it, who understands it, who sees the value in it, and maybe through this opportunity with Real can show you why, if you add some time and energy to it over the course of your transactional business, how much it'll pay off when you do want to exit or reduce your production or go into a retirement mode at 45 or 47.
Yeah.
Well, I was able to retire from the government at 32 years old, not because I had some huge 401k already built up after 8.5 years or 9 years. Right. I had a passive income strategy that had developed and another opportunity that far surpassed what I was making. Matter of fact, it cost me money to go into the office Monday through Friday or to fly on a plane and I was making great money per hour as a government top earner in the government at that time. I mean, we made great money. You know, every Secret Service agent in the country will tell you they make great money for what they do. They should make more, but they make great money based on the standard of others in their same profession.
Yeah.
But it was literally cost inhibitive for me to go to work when I knew that this opportunity on the other side was growing and developing a much larger passive income strategy for me. So I put my attention to it.
Well, as you should, right? And look what happened in doing so. But okay, so to wrap this up here, last question I want to ask you is, what's one thing that somebody out there, some agent or whomever, maybe not, but ideally an agent, that's our target audience here that are listening to this podcast today. What's one thing they could take that's actionable that one piece of advice you can give them they can put in their business in the next several days? What would you say?
This is going to sound so cliche. It probably is, but it's interesting having the opportunity to kind of reflect back over 25 years of my career in various industries. I always say, never forget the basics, because sometimes we overcomplicate so many things, whether it be any business that we run. Now, there's a lot of complicated businesses out there. If you're in tech, you're doing something like that. But I always say, don't forget how you started. Don't forget the basics on which you started. The simplicity. Go back to fundamentals. Like, you're a sports guy. You played football at a super high level. I was a basketball guy all the way through high school and college. What they always teach us? Fundamentals. What were the fundamentals of basketball? Dribbling, shooting, free throws, right? Never miss your free throws. They're freebies. You should be a 92% free throw plus free throw shooter. Look at Michael Jordan.
Yep.
The greats, Kobe Bryant, right? They were 90+% in their free throws. So the basics. And I always see people when they're losing their way is that they're moving from the fundamentals and they're moving into something that has not been tried or true or tested for them. And it's that where they really lose their way. So I always like to encourage people, get back to the basics. What's the basics? Connecting with people, your SOI, your sphere, are always going to be your go-to. They're always going to be there when everything else is falling apart. How do you touch base? How do you love on them? How do you add value to them consistently all the time?
Yeah, don't worry about the half court shot. Just do the bounce pass.
Never going to come into play.
Just do the bounce pass. The backdoor cut, the bounce pass, right?
The Hail Mary. If you're pulling that out every game, there's a problem with
There's a problem. Yeah. I love it. All right. Well, this is awesome, Dave. Well, you can see his heart here, guys, and there's a lot of value there. If you want to talk to Dave, you want to talk to him about, how do you help people buy and sell houses as well as build networks and all that fun stuff. And in this situation, you combine the two together. Where can they reach you, Dave?
Yeah, they can reach me on Instagram at Signature Estate Group. And you can always email me at dave@cookandassociatesaz.com. Love to connect with you and add value, see how I can help you. I'll be the first one to respond.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Elizabeth. I think Dave has, I am interested. I don't even sell real estate and I want to talk to him more. So I think it's really interesting how you can kind of take all of the different experiences in your life and really liken them to one another in order to really move it forward. Like, take all these different experiences and say it's really the same thing. Here's how I'm going to apply it. I think that's a really fresh look for a lot of people that have just been in real estate for a long time. So yeah, definitely, if you want to speak to him more, please reach out to Dave. I don't think you'll be sorry you did.
Welcome to the podcast Selling Real Estate with Kelly Cook, where we will discuss the latest and most relevant business strategies to help you do one thing extremely well: sell more homes. We'll discuss everything from business planning to lead generation and conversion to past client customer service and everything in between. Join us for authentic conversations and nuts and bolts takeaways you can implement into your business today. And now, Selling Real Estate with Kelly Cook.